Welcome to your stretching video. So whether you have really tired, heavy legs from over exercising, maybe you've been doing some weights, leg day in the gym, possibly you've been out cycling, running, lots of walking, your legs just might feel really tired and you're in need of a good lower body stretch. Or it could be something to do with your hormones. You might be feeling a little bit sensitive around the hips, the glutes. Maybe you've been struggling with your lower back and you are thinking that possibly it could be due to how tight your legs are. Whatever your reasoning for joining me here on the mat, I'm going to take you through a really lovely lower body stretch. So we're going to work on the hamstrings, the calves, the glutes, the quads, all areas of the lower body. And I want you to make sure that you take this class at your own pace. Don't force yourself into anything and don't be afraid to pull back if something doesn't feel quite right. Okay. So when you're ready, we're going to start seated. If you find this really uncomfortable, sit on a pillow, a rolled up blanket, something like that, just to lift the floor height. If you've got a yoga block at home, you could use that, or you could just sit comfortably on your bottom, okay? We're going to take the right leg out to the side first. So let's have a little fidget. You're not expected to fall into these stretches straight away, so don't be afraid to fidget into them. The right leg is coming out straight. Please make sure that right knee stays facing up towards the ceiling. Don't let it roll in. The left leg is bent, the heel's coming towards your pelvis, and the knee is dropping out to the side. Let's gently bring the hands on the floor in front of us and pause. Just pause here, okay? So when it comes to our stretches, very important we work on our breathing techniques. So whether you take a Pilates breath or a yoga breath for this video, it doesn't matter. I simply want you to work on breathing out slowly, letting go. And as you're focusing on that out breath, you're trying to allow the muscle to lengthen, to release tension, and just to make space, okay? So here we're focusing on the hips, the inner thighs, opening up through the pelvis. We'll slowly take both our hands over towards the left. So now I'm taking a gentle twist. The hands are coming over towards the left. Keep pressing that right knee up to the ceiling though. Just because we've twisted over to the left, I don't want that right knee to fall in towards the ground. Okay, so keep peeling it back. So a lovely little stretch here. We're just starting to work on the lower body. Walking those hands back through center, and now take those hands towards the right leg. So on the inside of the right leg, you're gently hinging here from the hips, trying to twist your body in the direction of the right leg. Possibly you might start to feel some of these lower body stretches in the back as well. Quite normal, okay? Obviously everything is connected there. So if your hamstrings are tight, they pull on the glutes, in the bum, they pull on the back. So it is quite normal to feel a lot of these postures in your back as well. Okay, let's come back through to center, bringing that right leg in. Let's take the left leg out to the side when you're ready. And remember, have a fidget, that's okay. Hands on the floor in front of you, rolling that knee back, remember, and simply use a breath and hinge forwards ever so slightly. I'm not asking you to kiss the floor or put your face all the way down there. I'm simply asking you to get your weight off of your bum cheek, so off the fleshy part of the bum, so that you can press forwards and really open up across the groin and the inner thighs here. So really important that this left knee is not rolling forwards, because that means your hip is closing off, collapsing. You want to peel back through that hip joint there. Keeping the lower body as is, we take the arms over to the right. So hands are coming simply just on the outside of the right knee. Maybe the palms are down, fingertips, wherever feels good for you. Be aware of that left knee, remember. And slowing down the breath. So really working on focusing the breath into the area that feels the most tension. So maybe that's your inner thigh. It might be the hip, possibly the lower back. Try and allow everything to soften. Walking the hands slowly back through center, bringing the hands over towards the left leg now. Again, trying to keep that right knee dropping down because we're opening out the right hip at the same time. Trying to allow your body to square in the direction of that left leg. And at no point there should be tension in the upper body. Yes, this is the lower body video, but if you carry tension in your upper body, that will be portrayed down into the lower body as well. So we need to have nice relaxed shoulders, soft elbows, and a tension-free upper body also. Okay, let's bring those hands back to center. Bringing yourself up. We're going to take both legs out now. So to a wide leg straddle. So both legs out. Again, please be careful of these knees. They don't roll forwards. Hands gently on the ground in front of you and pause. I'm not asking you to pancake your body to the ground. Simply try to get the fleshy part of your bum out the way. You can assist it by pulling it out of the way. That's okay. Make sure the feet are soft and gently pausing here. So again, focusing the breath into the inner thighs, into the groin, into the hips as we open up through this part of the body. So a slow, steady breath. Keep peeling those knees back. And with every exhale you take, you might find that you go a little closer towards the ground. Maybe not. Okay, don't force it. Slowly bring the hands back in towards you. You might want to assist the legs in, see how they're feeling. Bring those legs in and we'll come over onto all fours when you feel ready. We're coming straight into a pigeon here. So the right knee comes towards the right wrist. So right knee towards right wrist. Try and get that foot out from underneath you. So I always say take it in the direction of the left wrist, okay? It won't touch the left wrist, but in that direction. And then slide the left leg back. Now we need the left top of the foot on the floor, the left knee on the ground. Walk the hands back towards you so you can really open up through the pelvis, through the hips. And if you find that you keep falling onto your right bottom cheek, my advice is to put your pillow or your block underneath the right bum cheek to keep the hips level so that the left hip is always pointing to the top of the mat. If you can, we're going to gently come down onto the forearms. We settle here. Again, there's no tension. I'm not gripping hold of the mat. The hands are relaxed. Even you want to have a softness through your face because your jaw actually relates to your hips. So if you're clenching your jaw, if you've got tension in your face, then that is going to carry that tension down into the hips. So try and open the mouth slightly. Allow a softness to come through the cheeks, the eyebrows. Maybe even a little smile on your face, and also focusing deeply on that breath, okay? So focusing the breath into the area of the body that requires it the most at the moment. Slow, calming breath here. Feeling the right hip really opening up, releasing any tension around the hip, the lower body. Like I say, in this short video, I'm going to try and target most areas of the lower body in this session if I can. Keeping it nice and simple as well. Let's slowly come back up onto those hands. Take your time to bring that right leg out from underneath you. Maybe have a little fidget if you'd like to. And then the left knee is going to come to the left wrist. Make sure that foot's coming in the direction of the right wrist. And then we slide the right leg back as far as it will go. Remember, you don't have to plop into these stretches straight away. Top of the right knees on the floor. Don't twist the right hip open, okay? And again, if the left bottom cheek, you're really struggling, if you keep collapsing onto that side, put something underneath there to keep you lifted. Once you feel settled here, the forearms gently come down onto the ground. Don't collapse into the shoulders. And again, slow, steady breaths. One side of your hips, your lower back might be really restrictive or feel uncomfortable. Uncomfort is quite normal in some of these stretches. Pain is not. So start to learn the difference. Discomfort will be present here, okay, whilst we're stretching, because if you have got tension, you've got knots through the muscles around the hips, this is going to be quite intense. But if there is a sharp, sudden pain, really important that you stop, okay? Sharp, sudden pain is not a good sign. So I would suggest coming out and then maybe resetting before we try on the next move, okay? So a slow, steady breath whilst we're here. And then we'll gently press up onto our hands and bring that left knee out from underneath you. Have a little fidget, have a bit of a wriggle. This time we're going to lift our hands off the floor and now we're going to step our right foot forward. So you're going to bring your right foot forwards and then bring the hands back down to the mat. So I've got one hand either side of the right foot. The right knee is directly over the right ankle. Very important that your left knee is not too close. You want to slide that left knee back as far as it will go. This is called a low lunge. So press those hips forwards. Think about pulling the right hip back and pressing the left hip forwards. And for this hip flexor stretch, we are working on stretching out the front of the left thigh. So a slow, steady breath while we're here. If you can't reach the floor comfortably, build a little wall, okay? So you could put your hands onto pillows, onto books, onto a little table, whatever you've got there available to you. So don't be forcing yourself to reach the ground. If it's too far away, use some props, and that's all good. From here, we're going to walk our hands back towards the left leg as we straighten the right leg. We're going to flex the right foot, and we arrive in a half split variation. So your right leg is straight. The right toes are coming off the floor. Your left knee is down and the hip is over the left knee. Think about pulling the right hip back, pressing the left hip forwards, and breathing out as you fold your body over the right leg. So you should now feel this through the back of your right leg, into the calf, into the hamstring, that big muscle down the back of the thigh. So a slow breath here as you open up through the back of those legs. Taking your time here, again, using props if you need to underneath your hands. Try not to come in and out of the poses too much. Try and pause there, because the more you pause and breathe here, the more the body's going to open up. It's going to allow you to go deeper, and the pose, the stretch will actually become a little bit more comfortable. Okay, we're going to continue to walk back. Bring the right leg with you. I'm going to sit onto my bottom. So I'm going to take my left heel out of the way. So my left heel has come towards my left hip, and I'm on both bum cheeks now. Now I'm going to keep both knees together. If that's too much, open the knees slightly. Both hands either side of the legs, and as you breathe out, we creep the hands forwards and try to hinge from the hips slightly. Soften through this right foot and allow the head to bow down. Allow the back to come forwards. Again, elbows bent, shoulders relaxed. Try to keep the bottom on the ground. And you should maybe feel this down the back of the right leg, or you might be feeling it down the front of the left thigh. It depends on where you're carrying your tension, where you're carrying your tightness here today. So a slow, beautiful breath while we're here. Taking our time as we fold over. Trying not to force ourselves anywhere, just allowing ourselves to gradually fall down into the stretch. And then bringing the body up, we're going to change the left leg. So I'm going to lift the left knee, pop the sole of the foot onto the right thigh. So my left knee is now dropping down. The hip is open. We're going to do that fold again. So walking the hands down the right leg, hinging from the hips, folding the body over, softening through the right foot. And now again, you might be feeling it down the back of the right leg, a bit more of an open pose of the left leg now. So we're now opening up through the left hip joint. Allow that left knee to fall down heavy towards the ground as we pause here. And again, like I mentioned earlier, you may feel this across the lower back, which is perfectly normal, okay, as long as there's not a sharp pain. So a slow breath while we're here. And then we'll gently come back up to center. You're going to bend the right knee slightly, just so that you can thread the left foot underneath. So bring the left foot under the right. Realign yourself so you're on your bum. The left heel is next to your right heel. Okay, left heel next to the right heel. We're going to bring the right foot over so the sole of the foot is flat on the floor now. Wrapping you up. Are you confused? Have I lost you yet? So the right foot's flat on the floor, right knee's pointing up to the ceiling. The left heel is near my right hip, and the left knee is pointing to the top of the mat. Okay, let's take the left arm, bring it in front of you, pop that elbow on the outside of your right knee, and then look back over your right shoulder. So we're in a twist here, but this is a lovely way to stretch out through the glutes, which is obviously all connected into the back. So you're trying to get your right bum cheek on the floor as well, twisting around, pressing the left elbow into the right knee, and looking over your right shoulder whilst we're here. Maybe you could wrap the left arm down the right thigh. So now my left hand is reaching towards my hip, my forearm's running down the thigh, just so I can gently pull that leg a bit more across the body. Don't force it if it doesn't work for you, but if you're there, enjoy that gorgeous stretch. Okay, let's slowly come back to center. Continue to bring that right leg round. So now bring the right leg towards the left hip. Both bottom cheeks are on the floor. The knees maybe one on top of the other. Hands come in front of you and allow the head to bow down. Try to really open up here. This is a powerful stretch across the bottom, the hips, the lower back. So take your time here as we really open up. Slow, soft, steady breaths. Allowing the shoulders to go, the elbows, the face to soften. Let go of any tension that you are carrying around the hips, the lower back. And then see if you can lift your bum, bring your hands forwards, come all the way onto all fours and untangle those legs. Have a little wriggle here, loosen off through the lower back. We're going to repeat that on the other side, okay? So we're going to lift the hands up and we're going to step the left foot forwards now. So let's bring the left foot forwards. Once you're there, both hands down, one either side of the left foot, coming into our hip flexor stretch. So making sure that right knee is further back, so it's not directly underneath the hip, pressing the right hip forwards, pulling the left hip back. Maybe hands are on props if you need to lift the floor height slightly here. Taking a slow, steady breath as we start to open up through the other side of the body now. Okay, so we're doing both sides evenly. Once you feel settled here, you might find this is the perk of an on-demand video. You could just pause it if you want to. If you're really enjoying this stretch, you could pause it and stay there. If not, I'm going to take the hands back a little bit. I'm going to straighten the left leg, flexing the left foot, and trying to get the right hip over the right knee as I settle here. So making space through the back of the left leg, allowing the body to fold over, using your slow exhales as you fold over that leg. But at this point, we're not bringing the bottom towards the floor yet, okay? So we're trying to keep the tailbone, the pelvis tilted up towards the ceiling because you're really trying to open up through the back of the left leg. Remember, it's so important to give your body a little bit of a stretch, a bit of time out, okay? It really does deserve it. Maybe you don't realize how tight you're feeling until you actually step onto the mat. Let's continue to walk the hands all the way back, bringing the bottom down to the floor. So now you get the right heel out of the way. So my right heel is next to my right hip. Going to bring those knees together, one hand either side and folding the body over. So letting the body hinge forwards from the hips here. Allowing the body to settle, to soften, softening through the left foot as well. You might find you're still carrying some tension there in the ankle. Trying to keep the right knee close to the left if you can to get into the front of that thigh, but don't force it. If that feels too uncomfortable on your knee, feel free to change that angle at any point, okay? So upper body softening, back of the left leg opening up here. And then we'll gently lift up. We're going to change the layout of the right leg, remember? So the sole of the foot comes to the inside of the left leg. The right knee's dropping down to the floor. Hands either side of the left leg. And we creep forwards, fold over here as we enjoy this stretch, softening through the left foot, allowing the right knee to fall heavy and allowing the body to fold over. Remember, if your that makes sense. If your leg doesn't completely straighten here, don't force it. I never want to see you pushing the knee down or forcing that leg to straighten because that's not what your body requires, okay? If it doesn't straighten, maybe you might want to put like a pillow or something underneath the left knee. Support the knee rather than forcing it into an area it doesn't want to be. Walking the hands back up, we bend the left knee slightly so that right leg can now slide underneath, bringing the right heel towards the left hip. Stepping the left foot over, so the left foot is flat on the floor. Now once you've got a straight spine, we take the right elbow to the left knee. The left hand comes behind and I press round to look over the left shoulder. So a gorgeous twist here as I'm pushing myself round. Really feel this opening up through the back as well, so it's a really nice place to be. If you want to, that right arm can run down the thigh and you can go a little bit deeper into the pose. And that way you can kind of pull yourself around a bit more and go deeper into the glutes. The glute is your big muscles of the bum. Let's come back through to center. Slide that left foot now. Keep bringing it round towards the right hip. Knees possibly one on top of the other. Hands in front. Fold the body over. Slow breath. This is one of those really intense poses that you don't want to come into. But once you come out of it, you feel fabulous for it. But it is a very deep stretch here. So take a breath. See if you can pause here, allowing everything to soften. And then once you feel, you could always pause the video in this one if you want to. You're like, no, get me out of it. But once you're ready, bring the body weight forwards, hands coming forwards, and then untangle those legs. Have a little fidget there if you want to, okay? So I'm going to come face on here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to step my feet out and lift up onto my hands. So I'm standing on my feet, but my feet are wide leg stance here. Soles of the feet are down, toes are pointing forwards. I'm going to walk both hands over towards the right foot. So both hands are over towards the right foot. If you can't reach the floor with straight legs, please pop your hand on a pillow, a book, a table, something like that. Don't lean on your leg, okay? Now from here, I'm going to bend my left leg and pause. So I'm bending the left leg, but my right foot is staying on the floor. My hands are next to my right foot, and the sole of the right foot is down. So this is a gorgeous way to open up through the hip, the inner thigh, and the hamstring. Please make sure your weight is coming forwards, not rocking back onto your toes. Let's straighten the left leg. Gently walk your hands over to the left. So pause both hands next to the left leg. Both legs are straight at the moment. And then we bend into the right leg. So I'm bending into the right leg, keeping all 10 toes down, keeping my hands on the ground or maybe on a prop if you need to. And feeling that space opening up through the back of your left leg now. Slowly come back to center, straightening both legs, hands come into the middle. Make sure your weight is forwards, in the toes, not in the heels. Lift your bottom all the way up towards the ceiling. And then slowly bend your knees. You can walk the feet in, bring one knee in, then the other, and arrive in a seated posture when you're ready. So a nice short leg sequence there for you. So try to target all areas of the legs. I hope they feel a little bit better, a little bit looser. Know that you can come back to this video again and again whenever your body is crying out for it. I hope you enjoyed.